Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me at the back? If you can hear me at the back, can you just wave your hand, please? Good, thank you. Again, good morning. I am Floydine Charles Friedel, the President of the Board of Directors for Taibu Community Health Center. And on behalf of the board, staff, and volunteers, we would like to welcome you to our 5th annual general meeting. And we should give ourselves a clap for that. Because as you know, this is also a day in which we celebrate that which we have accomplished so far. And although the concept of Taibu may seem new to many of you, I remember when it was 2000 when I got involved with the Black Health Alliance, and we were doing a number of things in the community, and we talked about the need for a health facility that has a particular focus on addressing the issues around health in the Black community. So here we are 13 years later, that what seemed like a dream, what seemed like an impossibility, what seemed like it could never be done, we are in this beautiful facility today. And you, our members who informed us of how we should have our services, you should give yourselves a round of applause for keeping us alive. And now that we have completed our 5th year in operation, this is our official 5th annual general meeting, we do have a lot to celebrate. And today you will read and hear from our executive director about our accomplishments to date. Our programs and services are increasing and our funding base is expanding. Our staff is enthusiastic and as committed as our board of directors. Before we go any further, we will let you know, though, that the annual general report will be mailed to you. So please make sure that we have your correct address so that we can make sure you get a copy of this special edition of our annual report for this year. And before we go any further, I would like to acknowledge our political representatives who are in attendance at our meeting today. We have the Honorable Mitzi Hunter, who is the MPP for Scarborough-Gilroy and newly elected. And I think we should just give her a big round of applause for that. And of course, we have with us, and whom you'll be hearing from later, the Honorable Dr. Jean Augustine, the Ontario Fairness Commissioner. I would also like to acknowledge that we have received regrets from the Honorable Baz Balkasoon, our very own Baz Balkasoon, who has served us well and served Taibu well. So why don't you put your hands together so he can hear you wherever he is. Yes, and he will be here this afternoon, as a matter of fact, for the celebration that begins at 1 o'clock. So you will have an opportunity to greet him, but I know that he is regretful that he's not able to make it this morning because he does have a prior commitment. Those are the regrets we have so far. We do expect to have some of our other politicians, our federal MP and our city council will probably arrive, and when they do so, we will acknowledge them accordingly. So now allow me to just review our membership and our information. For who is it the first time to an annual general meeting? Is this your first time? Let me see your show of hands. All right, so we are going to go through a little bit. This is a business meeting, so we're going to go through the business pretty systematically. And first thing I want to make sure is that we all understand the process as we move forward, and then we can proceed with our celebrations afterwards. So to be a member, to be eligible to vote at the annual meeting, you must have completed a membership application from 60 days before the annual general meeting, which would have been July 26th of this year. If you're signed up to become a member today, you will be eligible to vote at the next annual general meeting, which will be held in September 2014. Please make sure, if you're not yet signed up as a member, that you become a member of Taibu Community Health Center, and although there is no membership fee, membership does have its privileges. According to the bylaws, there must be 30 members present to hold this meeting, and there are 40 plus members in attendance today, and we would not, that was the delay for us starting. We have to ensure that we have what is called quorum to be able to conduct the business of the meeting. So now we're at that place we're able to start. If an item is to be voting on, you must have a voting card. So if you have a purple card, can you just take it out and wave it, please? So that's how we acknowledge the votes. Every item must have someone to move on it and someone to second it before we go to the vote. When you move or second the motion, you need to raise your voting card. So if I were to say, not that I would make a motion, but I'd say I, Floydine Charles Friedel, move to do such and such. And once this is done, there will be an opportunity for questions, comments, and discussions before the vote. If you are asked to vote, raise your purple card. You can vote in favor, or you can vote against, or you can abstain. And that simply means that we do not feel that you're able to make a decision. We would ask the membership to please review the agenda for today, which is also in your package. And if there are no additional agenda items, would a member please move to accept the agenda for today? Yes? Pardon me? Jennifer Gordon has moved that the agenda for today has been accepted. Is there a seconder, please? Okay, Earl Charlemagne. Are there any questions or comments about the agenda? Okay, all those in favor of approving the agenda, please indicate by raising your voting card. Thank you. Okay, so ayes have it, motion carried. Now, we would like for those members who were in attendance to please review the minutes for September's meeting of September 20th, 2012, which was also in your package. And at any point, if one is prepared to move, you may do so that we accept the minutes of September 2012, September 20th, 2012. Yes, ma'am? Susan Hayes. So it was moved by Susan Hayes that the meeting minutes of September 2012 be approved. Is there a seconder? Yes? Iris? E-N? A-N. Okay, moved by Susan Hay and seconded by Iris Luan. Are there any questions? H-A-Y-E-S. H-A-Y-E-S, thank you, ma'am. Are there any questions or comments regarding the minutes of September 20th, 2012? Okay, so all in favor of approving the minutes of September 2012, please raise your purple voting card. Are there any opposed? Are there any abstentions? Okay, ayes have it, the motion is carried. Thank you very much. Now I would like to call upon the esteemed Mr. Lieben Gibra Mikael, the first executive director of Taibu Community Health Center, to bring his report and to do the staff appreciation.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Taibu, and thank you for coming I know in our experience over the past 4 or 5 years, whenever we have events, programs, rain doesn't stop you from coming and participating and supporting us. Snow hasn't stopped you. So I really appreciate that you've made your time today, even though the weather is not very helpful. On behalf of the staff, the volunteers here at Taibu, I welcome you to Taibu's 5th annual general meeting. And as I said in the report that you have with you, every time I sit down and reflect on the past year to try to organize the report and write my message, I always realize how fast the year has gone and how little we have done. This year it has been a bit different. Not only I feel that we are, and I am getting busier, but I have been able to feel the traction that the organization has made. I feel that the plane has just left the ground, and I can feel it in my guts. You know, when you fly, as soon as the plane leaves the ground, you feel that movement in your stomach. So I feel that, and I think and I believe that we have started to get airborne, and Taibu has really taken off. The center activities are highlighted in the annual report that you have with you, and I would also like to take this opportunity to apologize for some of the typos and missing words. But the breadth of services and programs are wide, starting from prenatal to young children and their parents, young adults, adults and older adults. It's like a continuum of care. It also addresses several of the health disparities that our community is affected by, including diabetes, hypertension, sickle cell, mental health, academic success, employment support, isolation, etc., etc. This year our budget has increased by about 9% from last year, but I must say that our activities have increased by over 50%. Highlight of our achievement accomplishment this year has been our accreditation designation. We've been accredited by the Canadian Centre for Accreditation, and with flying colors. Our primary healthcare services for adults with sickle cell is one of the, I think, for me, one of the highlights and achievements of Taibu so far. We have our hypertension management clinic, our diabetes prevention program, the March break camp. That was a new program that we did this year. Yes, some people want the March break, they want the summer break, they want the winter break program because it's been so successful. And it's been delivered by young people from the community. So these are trained young people who have done it. So I think we should honor and applaud the young people who participated in there. Our diabetes education program, increased activity targets, we're meeting our targets, and we're also seeing marked improvement in the participants' management of their diabetes and self-management and lifestyle changes. This year we also had the opportunity to work with the Black Health Alliance and Bramley Community Health Center in implementing the Black Health Challenge, which is a program that was designed by Black Health Alliance and Taibu in 2010. And we implemented these programs in Ajax Pickering, in Scarborough, in Kingston Galloway, in Malvern, and in partnership with Bramley, three sessions were delivered in the Peel region. We started the LEARN program, which is an innovative after-school program. We also started the Ubuntu project. I see a lot of Ubuntu village members here. And this is a village concept for older adults to look after themselves, but also look after the younger generation. We come from a culture where the village raises the child, and so this is the concept that we've implemented here, and it's really, really going very well, and it's in partnership with Warden Woods Community Center as well in the Teesdale region. And we've also started the postpartum support group here, and this is for the whole of Scarborough, and it's a collaborative between several agencies in Scarborough. That's also a very exciting, innovative program that we started. So how come I get to stand here before you and proudly present all these innovative programs, our success and accomplishment? Of course, it starts with the board's direction, guidance, and support and vision that they have for this organization and for what we do operationally. The wonderful staff complement that work here for Taibu, their dedication, their passion, their commitment, their professionalism, creativity, and the love they have for the work and for the community. That's also one of the factors and reasons. Our volunteers and students on placement here, our summer staff, our childminders, our clients and the community at large who have really engaged. It amazes me how they are engaged. Usually it's an organization that engages the community and we go out doing community engagement initiatives. I don't know what's happening here, but it's the community that engages us and tells us what we need to do, which is sometimes challenging, but I think I would say that that is the true community engagement process. If people are able to come and say, we want a program here on this day, or for example, we usually break in the summer. That gives us time for staff to take some break and vacation time, for us to regroup, plan, and say, okay, what are we going to do in the fall? And several times, and particularly certain groups that do not allow us to have that break. They say, you can't, somebody is waving from the back. No, you can't have a break. We need to meet, even if you're not here, we will meet. And sometimes we make accommodation. And sometimes it's resources and other reasons. But this, I think this is a very good relationship we have with the community. So I think that is probably the main factor that is helping us to achieve those successes. Our partners, obviously, our funders, and our supporters, the elected officials, who are always providing the support and assistance. So to say thank you would be for me just an ordinary word. But you know, I don't know any other word. Maybe Vidal can help me. But I would say thank you to all that, you know, the board, the staff, our volunteer students, summer staff, our childminders, our clients and community members, our partners, our funders, and our elected officials. We are not a perfect organization, at least not yet. We have a lot of areas to improve. We are focusing now on quality improvement initiatives, partly because Taibu is about developing a center of excellence, but we also have an opportunity now from the ministry's initiative to focus on quality improvement initiatives, so that is where our focus would be. Research, best practice, and evaluation, of course, will also be part of that. We are also refining our programs and services to make sure that it meets the needs of the community, and it's also based on our foundation, the Afrocentric principles. As we take off, we will also be studying the weather radar. Today didn't work because it's raining outside. But we'll be looking at, you know, conducting environmental scans. There's a lot of changes in government policies and direction, and the LIN's direction. So we will be watching those closely. We will be looking for new opportunities and also identifying risks and strategies to mitigate them. And we'll adjust our flight plan accordingly. But our values and mandate to serve you, the community, and our community, be that welcoming support, engaging, listening, and empowering agent in our community will not change. Thank you very much for your support. Again, thank you for coming today. And I would like to take this opportunity now, as we do our tradition, of calling on the staff of Taibu so that you can see, meet them, but also to say thank you. I thought you started coming this way, Raquel. You need to come on. Yes, no, everybody, come on quickly. We need to move quickly. 5 years ago, if I had called on the staff on our first AGM, it would have been 3 people. One is over there and one is no longer with Taibu. Thank you. Can we move quickly, Mark? Oh, really? Okay, let's get this a couple of samples. Oh, we need more space. We need more space in the building, so we'll be talking to our elected officials about space. Thank you. And there are quite a few not present today because of other commitments. Should I go around and introduce? So let me start from there very quickly. The most senior staff over there, Donna Francis, our HR manager, Tony Baptiste, who's our program manager, Jamila Loz, who's our social worker working with the sickle cell program, Mira, who's our nurse educator with the diabetes education program, Tina Smith, who's our nurse practitioner, Laik, our registered dietitian for the diabetes education program, Dr. Norma Baker, who's one of our new family physician part-time, Abel Gabriel-Jesus, who's very critical because he's the one who does the numbers. He's our data management coordinator. Deshaun, who's also a very fresh staff member, our youth outreach worker with our new funding from the Ministry of Children and Youth Services. Estella Williams, our health promoter. Eunice Guerrier, who is our community health worker and the project lead for the sickle cell program. Myrtle, who is our medical secretary. Dr. Deva Nicholas, our other part-time physician. Nadira, who is our receptionist at the diabetes education program. Raquel, who is our social worker therapist. Nancy, who's our registered nurse, Karen, who's our Ubuntu project coordinator, Tamika, who's our registered dietitian, Dr. Onion Rome, our other part-time physician, Shauna Williams, why are you hiding over there? Okay, but Shauna Williams is our coordinator for the Learn After School program. Nancy, who is our physician assistant, this is a special project ministry funding. Dr. Larry Grossman, who is our specialist physician for the sickle cell clinic, twice a week. VJ, who is our community health worker, volunteer coordinator, and everything else. And then we have our volunteers, I cannot name them, but they're there at the back. Also the childminders are also looking after some of the participants here, children as well as our staff children. So thank you very much for all the hard work. We have some token of appreciation, and just for time purposes, as you go out, Donna would look after you, I'm sure. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Lieben, and to the staff, thank you very much, and especially to our volunteers. Those of you who know that we can't do this all without the support of our volunteers. So I would like you all to stand so we can see who you are, please, because I think it's important that you also be acknowledged on this journey of success. At this point, I would like to ask Mr. Derek McLennan to come forward. He is the treasurer of Taibu, and he will take you through the financial reporting process. Derek?
Thank you, Madam President. Members, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, you can see the growth of this center in 5 years just by the reflection of the staff. I am excited today and I think it's a good day, even though it is raining, but rain is a blessing. So therefore, I am excited to present to you and to emphasize the health and the matter of this center that says being in good health. And I think the majority of us, we are in good health, if not physically, mentally, and support-wise. I would just like now to present to you the financial report of the center. As outlined in the Executive Director's report, Taibu has continued to deliver existing and new primary health care and health promotion programs and services during the past year. Taibu Health Center receives its core funding from the Central East Local Health Integration Network, which is otherwise known as CE-LIN. From April 1, 2012 to March 31st, 2013. In this period, we also received funding from the Ministry of Tourism, Culture, Sports to implement the diabetes prevention program that the Executive Director spoke so eloquently about. The Anterior Trillium Foundation, and that is to implement 2 innovative projects, the Learn After School program and the Ubuntu Village project for older adults. Healthcare, or the Health Force Ontario, Ministry of Health, and long-term for a full-time physician assistant position. Service Canada, to employ students during the summer period, and the City of Toronto Social Services. I would like at this point to call upon our auditor, Mr. Vinay Raja, from the Clark Henning LLP, to present the audited statement. Vinay.
Thank you, Derek. Excuse me. We've audited the financial statements of Taibu Community Health Center and have given a clean bill of health to the center. In our audit report dated June 24th. As with any health issues, you would have minor coughs and colds, and so did Taibu, and we take up those minor issues with management. And when we come next year to do the audit, we follow up to see that any of the recommendations we have made has been implemented. As Derek said, your majority of the funding comes from Central East LIN, and your budget for that is around $3 million. When you get your funding from Central LIN, there are conditions attached to it. There are and you are given a budget. And there are really very simple rules around it. You spend in accordance with the budget. If you overspend it, generally it's tough luck. It should come out of your own resources. And if you underspend it, you cut a check to the government back and saying, this is what we've not spent. Typically, in a community health centers, majority of the community health centers will underspend some of the fundings. And, a lot of people will ask the questions, we need services, why do we have to return money to the government? what happens in majority of the community health center is that you are funded position by position. There are vacancies, when staff leave, they may not be filled up in time. So there's some monies left over in the salaries line, which generally goes back to the government, and Taibu was in the same position during 2012, 2013 fiscal year. There is some money going back to the government, and it's a pretty standard situation. When you look at the financial statements, which is in your package given to you, happily you only have to look at one page. Your board of directors had to look at 14 pages and bear with me for 45 minutes to go line by line all the items. As you can see, on a $3+ million budget, more or less, Taibu has spent everything they have, and has a small deficit of $3,000 at the end of the day. As a young organization, obviously Taibu hasn't built up its own resources, but over the years I'm sure it will. And so there is about $3,000 of your own resources sitting in the financial statements. These are the monies which you fundraise or provide certain services which you're allowed to keep as opposed to give it back to the government. I'm going to stop there. I think that sort of explains the bulk of your financial statements. If there's any questions on the financial statements, I'll be glad to answer them.
Thank you, Vinay. I would like to move for the acceptance of the financial statement for the year ended March 31st, 2013. Is there a seconder?
Lee Bradley.
Brathwaite. Thank you. Brathwaite. Any questions? Any opposed? Any abstention? Carried. Okay. You want to vote? All those in favor? Thank you. Any opposed? Any abstention? Carried. Okay, we will now ask for a mover for the appointment of the auditors for the year, March 31st, April 1st, 2013 to March 31st, 2014. May I have a seconder? Yeah. May I have someone to move to appoint Clark Henning, LLP, as a chartered accountant for Taibu for the year April 1, 2013 to March 31st, 2014.
That we actually appoint Renee Raja on behalf of Clark Henning, that we name the auditor, which is Renee. So can you just add that to the minutes, please?
Second order. All in favor? Thank you.
That we appoint, I think the motion read.
The motion read that we appoint Renee from Clark Henning.
Actually, you appoint my firm as opposed to me, Clark Henning.
Oh, I see.
Yes. Okay. So all in favor? Vote. Carried. No opposed, no abstention. Thank you. Now, may I have a mover for the motion to approve the membership authorizing the Board of Directors to determine and approve the auditor's fee for the fiscal year 2013 to 2014. Vidal, move, seconded by? Any seconder? Thank you. Susan Hay. H-A-Y-E-S. Thank you. Any opposed? Any abstention? All in favor? Thank you. Carried. Thank you, Madam President. Seeing that I have the mic, I'd just like to, for our record, just to give our appreciation to our President, who has been leading us, coaching us for the past 5 years at least, and seeing to the direction of the Taibu Community Center. We appreciate your commitment and dedication.
Thank you. Leland, can you come up to the microphone, please?
There is a saying back home where I come from. When you forget something, you say, "Oh, I wish that forgets me." So I'm feeling that right now, but I would like to call on a special person here at Taibu, Donna Fansilai. Yes, Donna Fansilai. The timing is very strict for the... As part of the staff appreciation, I would really wanted to have a special appreciation for Donna. I know the board knows, but for me, when I came, when we started with Taibu, Donna and I used to share one office space. We had 3 desks, 1 chair. We got another chair later on, and we used to have a house phone. And so it was very interesting, you know, if I wanted to call, I don't know, the ministry or somewhere, I had to wait until she finished the call or somebody, it was so funny and interesting. But I just wanted to say a special thank you to Donna because she's been very supportive to the organization and where the organization is, to me personally. And so I just wanted to take this moment to say thank you.
Okay, as we move along, I will be brief in my comments. As much of what I have to say, I'll say at 1 o'clock at the celebration. Just wanted you to know that for the people who this is the first time, if you don't understand that there are different models of governance for our board, Taibu's Board of Directors operates from a policy model of governance. That means that we do not get involved in the day-to-day operations of the organizations. We set the strategic directions, the mission, the vision, and values. We oversee all the fiduciary matters of the organization, and we pay attention to the climate outside the political climate that may impact on what it is that we are set out to do. So our board is very much engaged in its activity. Our meetings are at the very least animated, and it is really a pleasure for me to work with a number of individuals who are committed not just to the organization but to the reason why we're here on behalf of the Black community. Because for many of you may not know, but Taibu is perhaps the first of its kind of such facility in this country. And it is indeed an honor for us to serve you, to represent you on the matters of health and be the voice. It's an additional honor to be able to speak to those issues that have impacted on why we have not been as successful as we could have been in areas of health. So the barriers that we face. So we have license to name racism when it exists. We don't have to dance around the issue. We have the license to speak around social injustice and health equity and those things that matter. So that when we speak about the social and economic determinants of health, we are speaking on these things and addressing these issues with different levels of government and bureaucrats in order that we may best represent the Black community in this city and beyond. And we see ourselves as an organization, as you know, that is established to provide best practices in terms of how we address these issues in the Black community, and that is also from a governance level. And to that end, we have attempted to do some board-to-board engagement with other boards. We have addressed the Minister of Health and other persons on issues where we felt that the community has not been neglected. That is why we have insisted in our bylaws that we name things like sickle cell and mental health and addictions and violence and the impact that they have on our health and our community, that education is important to us. And so that we govern from that perspective. And of course the ED, we can give him our opinion. He doesn't have to listen, but we give it anyway. And there are certain things that we just must do. So we thank Lieben and the staff for all that we've done. One of the highlights for us this year was that we had the opportunity last year to go to the International Conference on the Health of Africans in the Diaspora that was sponsored by Johns Hopkins University, where we were invited really to talk about what Taibu is doing and as an example of leadership in our communities. And I know that for many people, oftentimes people come to me and say, Floydine, you all should do this and you all should do that. I say, you need to talk to the ED, that's not our role. Because I know that it is new, and we would encourage many of you today that if you're interested in learning about leadership in a different way and are interested in becoming a member of the board, to please let us know that, because it does require commitment, but it really is an excellent learning opportunity. And we want to thank you all for supporting us in our work. And so I just have a small joke. I walked in this morning and somebody said to me, excuse me, ma'am, are you a member? A member of the organization. And before I had an opportunity to respond. Somebody said, you know how we do as that's the president. But it just says that we are really humbled at the opportunity to serve. And I would just like to acknowledge our board members who are present. Unfortunately, this morning we learned that one of them had to end up in emergency with their children and is not able to make it. And we have others who are on vacation, and another today is a day of challenges, but we know how to overcome challenges and celebrate anyhow. So I would like to take this opportunity to acknowledge those board members who are here, and also the ones who are absent. The person who is the vice president and chair of our nominations committee and is absent today is Ms. Cheryl Bernard. Our secretary, Akila Dresicki, is unable to make it today because she's at work. You heard from our treasurer, Derek McLennan, and of course the dignitary himself, Mr. Vidal Chavans. Earl Charlemagne, Audette James is absent. Colleen Russell Rollins is also absent today. Tanya Sinclair is vacationing and somewhere warm. And Elaine Thompson is here, and Gail Wilson. So can you all please stand so people know who you are and that they may acknowledge you, please. And we just want to thank you and congratulate you again. And on this point, normally we would do an appreciation for the board, but today we're going to do something a little bit different on this auspicious occasion of the 5th anniversary of Taibu Community Health Center. So if those board members could come forward and stand with me as we ask our executive director to come forward. I would also like to invite Brother Oji to come forward as we do this presentation to our executive director, please. Put that up.
Greetings, everybody. We recognize those who are not here. Spirit world, we must always remember those who come before us and those who are here, so that we will make a good place for those who will come after us. I was honored to be asked to be a part of this presentation to Taibu and the Executive Director, Ivan in particular. I am a part of a documentary called Onto the Journey, which is about the Maroons of Jamaica, the New World's first successful freedom fighters. I've known of Taibu for a while through, I refer to her as Sister Floydine. And she said, and continues to say, that Taibu is an organization similar in that freedom fighting tradition. Taibu is about a calling to good health. So with that in mind, we decided to make the most iconic image in the Akwantu documentary, which also represents that calling, presented as a gift to Lyden, as a thank you for the work that he has been doing in leading Taibu. Thank you very much.
On behalf of the board and staff, we would like to present you with this picture. I actually took Lieben because, you know, he's from the motherland, and we were trying to help him understand the different cultures. So we went to see Akwantu at its very first. We had a private invitation to go. And I noted that Lieben was looking at this picture and was very impressed by what he learned. So a reason why Brother OG is doing this is because he is a photojournalist, and what we're presenting to you today is the actual photo that is signed by OG that is used as the main image feature for Akwantu the Journey, and we wanted you to have that because we thought it, and it's about the abang. So if we could unveil it, you can see, because the abang in our culture is the call to the community, and we just felt that it was appropriate as the first executive director of this organization that this reflects who you are as the person who's leading the community and calling the community to be in the out. So on behalf of the board and staff, we want to say thank you, and this photo was taken in. And please stick around afterwards, because Brother OG is also going to be doing a presentation and teaching people about the Owari game, and if you haven't learned how to play it yet, this afternoon would be an opportune time. So congratulations, Lieben. I saw the wall in your office where it appropriately belongs. Okay, and thank you to our board. And now I will ask Vidal, before we bring our keynote, we have one very important matter to our sector to address, and we'll ask Vidal Chavance to address that, and I'll come back and introduce Dr. Augustine, and we'll continue on. Thank you very much.
Good morning. I come to you this morning not in my capacity as a member of the board of directors, but instead to appeal to you as a community member concerned by what I see taking place to some of our most vulnerable citizens in Hamilton, Ontario. For more than 17 years, Hamilton Urban Core Community Health Centre has been serving marginalized and vulnerable populations living in poverty. They've done so despite years of chronic underfunding, cramped quarters, floods, black mold growing in the building, and a constant battle with their own local health integration network to remain fully operational. This particular CHC serves one of the most complex and impoverished catchment areas in the province, with one of the smallest budgets. Despite these challenges, Hamilton Urban Core CHC is still extremely successful at what they do. A variety of research studies have borne out that even though they serve a population with very high health service needs, Hamilton Urban Core is highly effective at keeping them, many newcomers to Canada, racialized, most living in poverty, out of the hospital. There's money available right now to get Hamilton Urban Core into a new, more appropriate building. However, the LHIN will not provide the money until Hamilton Urban Core agrees to eliminate some of their necessary programs, including foot and oral care that they provide to people in the local community. Many of these individuals have no other option. What would you do for healthcare services if you didn't have a home? How would you care for your teeth if your salary put you below the poverty line? Who would you turn to for help if you just arrived in this country in the middle of the winter and had to make a choice between covering the heating bill or getting your child's tooth fixed? How would you try to prevent devastating diabetes complications like amputation if you couldn't afford to pay for foot care? In Hamilton, the answer is you go to Hamilton Urban Core. So as Hamilton Urban Core Community Health Center fights for those who need their services, we must fight for Hamilton Urban Core. We need the Minister of Health and Long-Term Care, Deb Matthews, and the Hamilton Niagara Haldeman Brant Lynn to do the right thing and provide Hamilton Urban Core with the funding they require and the building they deserve. So we are asking you to sign a petition calling for Minister Matthews to live up to her promise of equity by ensuring equitable funding for the center relative to other community health centers in the LHIN and throughout the province. Certainly, we have the paper version of the petition for you to sign. However, I don't know why I couldn't come up with the word petition. However, if you require more information, you can certainly go online. Just Google Hamilton Urban Core Community Health Center, or certainly check out the change.org website where the petition resides, and you can sign it online at your leisure. But again, I just encourage you to support Hamilton Urban Core and the work that they're doing for the impoverished communities in Hamilton. Thank you.
Thank you, Vidal. And just so you know, you may be wondering why we're addressing this, but just think about Taibu and the fight. Every step along the way to get to this building, we had to fight. And we talk about our brother's keeper, and it's important that within this sector that we understand that this is greater than us. This is a matter of health equity, which is why Taibu exists. CHCs are actually at the core of what health equity is. So please do take the time to sign that petition and show your support, because as much as we serve a population here where 40% of the people we serve are living in poverty, in Hamilton over 85% of the over 7,000 clients that are served in Hamilton are living in poverty. 8,000 children are going hungry every single day. And this is of importance to us, and I think we are well positioned to address this issue. If you're on Facebook, go on Facebook. If you're on Twitter, pay attention to the tweets and really use what it is that you know to have. This is where we as a community, it's important for us to become more active politically and to show that it's important that we care about the issues of people. And that's why it's important for us to vote and to get involved in these issues, because it really is significant. On that note, let me just read the bio of Dr. She says she's so humble. Don't read the bio. I just want to get up there, so she doesn't want me to read the bio. But you want to hear about Dr. Augustine, don't you? Yeah. See? There we go. I will speed read. No, I won't. Honorable Jean Augustine was appointed as the first Fairness Commissioner for Ontario in March 2007. She cares passionately. Did I miss something? Oh, I missed something important. Sorry. I'm doing this on behalf of Gail, who is absent. I'm supposed to present the slate of candidates for the board of directors, so I apologize for that. So let me just tell you about the process. This year there were 6 vacancies open for the 2013-2014 board of directors. 5 of the directors whose terms expired have agreed to return, and 1 director resigned in March 2013. We are fortunate that the departing members will remain active members of Taibu, and as a result, the center will continue to benefit from their expertise. In keeping with the bylaws, the nominations committee prepared the slate of candidates that will be presented to you momentarily. Before the recruitment process began, a profile of the current board members was completed to identify gaps in skills. Some principles for recruitment were established to ensure that gender equity, cultural and racial diversity were achieved. The recruitment process included the following. Membership application forms were distributed to the participants of Taibu's programs and services and to residents within the Malvern community and across the GTA. The membership form was made available on the center's website at www.taibuchc.ca, and the membership applications were reviewed and the names of those who indicated their interest to volunteer on the board were identified. We were pleased to have candidates respond from the community, and at this point we had 6 individuals who expressed interest in being considered for the board of directors. The nominations committee did review the applications through a careful screening process and determined that further recruitment is required to ensure the enlistment of candidates that possess the required skill set and experience for our policy model of governance board of directors. The nomination committee comprises of Cheryl Bernard, the chair, Gail Wilson, Tanya St. Clair, Donna Fancy Lal, who is the staff representative, and myself, who sits ex officio on that committee. I am pleased to present the following slate, and the slate of candidates represent the diversity of the community and diversity of skills. So the slate we have for 2-year term is Akila Dresicki, and for a 1-year term we have Earl Charlemagne, Odette James, and Derek McLennan, Colleen Russell Rollins, and Elaine Thompson. And so what I would like to do is to move that the membership approve this slate of candidates to fill the vacancies for the year 2013 and 2014. And that is the motion, please. I'd like a seconder, please, to approve the slate that was just read. Do you have a voting card? If you don't have a purple, please use your purple. Is there a seconder? Clean? Great? Wait, Bradley. Yes? So it was moved by a seconder. Are there any questions or comments? All in favor, please indicate it by raising your purple voting card. And okay, any opposed? Any abstentions? So ayes have it, the motion carried. So this is your slate and your board representation for 2012-2013. Thank you. Now, yes. Okay. So, Honorable Jean Augustine was appointed as the first Fairness Commissioner for Ontario in March 2007. She cares passionately about education and the challenges faced by newcomers to the province. Ms. Augustine was born in Grenada and came to Canada in 1960. She attended the University of Toronto, where she earned Bachelor of Arts and Master of Education degrees. She became an elementary school principal with the Metropolitan Separate School Board in Toronto. From 1988 until 1993, she was chair of the Metro Housing Authority. Ms. Augustine was the first African-Canadian woman to be elected to the House of Commons. She was elected in the riding of Etobicoke Lakeshore in 1993 and sat in Parliament until 2006. During this time, she served as Minister of State for Multiculturalism and the Status of Women, and sat on several standing committees and was Deputy Speaker. She also played a major role as Parliamentary Secretary to the Prime Minister. She has shared her expertise and enthusiasm with others as a member of several community boards, including those of York University, the Hospital for Sick Children, the Donwood Institute, and Harbourfront Corporation. She is former National President of the Congress of Black Women of Canada. Every year, she makes a better future for young women through the Jean Augustine Scholarship, a fund that helps single mothers attend George Brown College and Centennial College in Toronto. In 2007, she was the chair of the Ontario Bicentenary Commemorative Committee on the Abolition of the Slave Trade Act. Ms. Augustine has donated archival and parliamentary materials to York University's Faculty of Education, thus creating the opportunity to establish an innovative academic position, the Jean Augustine Chair in Education in the new urban environment. She has been honored by many organizations for her leadership and community involvement, and has been awarded honorary Doctor of Laws degrees by the University of Toronto, the University of Guelph, McGill University, and York University. In December 2009, she was appointed as a member of the Order of Canada. So please welcome warmly our keynote speaker, Dr. Jean Augustine.
Merci beaucoup. Thank you so much for the introduction. Claudine Charles Friedel, President of Taibu, Board of Directors, Executive Director, staff, esteemed guests, friends, and the community, senior and elders, and I recognize Ms. Libby Johnson as a senior in our midst. Where is Libby? I wanted to ask him if one had to be beautiful and pretty and tall to be a member of his staff. I haven't seen such a group of good-looking people in one place. Not sure I could apply. I am honored to be with you this morning, and very, very honored to be part of the celebration and also the recognition of your 5th anniversary. As I thought about the number 5 and your struggles over the many years leading to the establishment of this place, the programs, the governance mode, and everything else that you have accomplished, I reflect on the organizations in our community. As was mentioned in my bio, I came here in 1960, and that is way, way before some of those people at the front were born. And I see a few faces in the room who were around for a very, very long time, and would remember the history of so many organizations in our community. I was asked to speak a few months ago, and what I did was list a whole set of community organizations that we've seen over the years, and have the audience ask the questions: why didn't they get past their 5th anniversary, their 10th anniversary, their 12th anniversary, their 15th anniversary, and continue to serve us? And many of you may remember some of them. The very first one, the African Foundation, where we were bringing African students here, and the promise was that they would go back to Africa after they completed their degree. You remember the Black Improvement Group that tried to get us to invest in all kinds of financial activities. You remember the Black Education Project and all the people who were engaged and involved in those in the issue of education for young people. A group called MOMI, the minority organization of electors, where way back when we were talking about getting back folks, getting minority folks in the political arena. So it's not new conversations now. I want to congratulate Mitzi and all those in the community who are now moving into that arena. But that conversation started way in the 60s. Or other organizations like the Library of Black People's Literature. Where are all the books that we collected, the thousands and thousands of books? What has happened to that library? The Marcus Garvey Center, the National Black Coalition of Canada, where we try to organize right across the country. The Congress of Black Women, again, trying to organize all across the country. The Canadian Alliance of Black Educators, and I could go on and on and on. And what I did for the last, as I said, when I spoke a while ago, I was able to come up with about 47 organizations. There are many of them still going great, doing great work, and you know who they are, and many of you participate in their activities. But you know also that some of them fell by the wayside. And if this was another occasion, we could begin to analyze why it is that they failed, why it is that they went into oblivion. And I'm so very pleased, Floydine, to hear you talk about the governance model. The fact that as board, you stand out there and you let the staff and the executive director do what needs to be done. Because oftentimes in our community organizations, this is where the problems lie. When the board is too interactive with what the staff should be doing, and when there are no clear, delineated ways of operating. This is the board, these are the duties of the board, this is the staff, that's the duties of the staff. And so today's meeting was conducted in such a fashion that I must say I'm so very proud of you, my daughter. So very proud of the fact that Taibu has got it right, and the board has got it right, and the staff has got it right. And having reached your 5th anniversary, there is also good indicators that you are on the way to your 10th, to your 15th, to your 20th. And as someone said earlier, planning for the future. There is an old Chinese, I think, saying, or maybe an old anonymous saying, that if you're planning for a day, if you're planning for a year, plant corn. If you're planning for a decade, plant trees. And if you're planning for a lifetime, do the kinds of work that is happening in Taibu. Educate people, encourage people, provide for individuals, work with individuals, be visionary about where we should go. And so I want to add my words of encouragement, I want to add my words of support, and I want to say how much I admire your modus operandi to this point. The community that calls Northeast Scarborough home is proud and should be proud to have one of the best local health care centers in the city. And I think that all those who are part of your network as supporters, as funders and donors, and the recipient of your service would all, I'm sure, join in saying this. There is no perfection. There is no perfect situation. And as we work really very hard and we try to do our very best, there will always be little ginger things that are thrown on the side. There will be an individual that you serve and who's maybe, and I know this coming from politics, you can do some 50 things for someone, and the one time when you have to say no, that becomes your record. And so we know that there would be a discordant, a little bit of dissonance, because some people, you did not do exactly and precisely what an individual wants to happen at any specific point in time. But the direction of the organization is good. I like the Afrocentric underpinning of what you do, because I think it's important that we know who we are as we go forward. Because oftentimes it's said that people who don't know their history and traditions and cultural forms are often people whose self-esteem and for whom lots of things are created as stress and otherwise. By the way, I was reading something this morning, and it says if you want to be really healthy and stress-free, you have to have 12 laughs a day. So laugh, everybody. So this is number one. Count the rest. Count the rest of the day. Actually, it's not just smile, it's really belly laugh. So a community where you've provided much needed healthcare programs to local residents, in particular to the Black community. And I must tell you that when VJ was called, Benny was called, he smiled, notice he smiled at me because we were at LAMP, which is a similar type organization in Etobicoke, and he was the auditor and gave the audit report. So it was last night and today, so it seems as though I was either following him or he was following me. But at the same time, I think it's a recognition that good work is taking place and that his firm was committed. I was pleased too that in terms of governance that he corrected you by saying ask for the firm, not ask for me, because it would look as though you wanted him because he gave you a nice clean and so the firm is the one that has to make the decision as to who they put out there. So maybe that's lesson learned for all of us. I also read, and you have this up nicely for attention, that the word Taibu is a Kiswahili word signifying to be in good health, or be in good health. So in a half decade, you have a community landmark to serve in the community with a mission to better the lives of those who come through your doors for assistance. And as Taibu, you continue to serve the community for decades to come. That's my wish for you. And that positive community health impact will be even more pronounced as you continue to work. So let me share a little bit on my thoughts on health and well-being. And, but before I do, I'd like to just take a minute or so to talk about what I do as a Fairness Commissioner for the province of Ontario. Because I'm always asked, when someone says, what do you do? And I say, I'm Fairness Commissioner. And they say, what's that? Or someone would say, you know, I work all week, I work really very hard, I get my paycheck. My wife takes it, is that fair? Can I come to see you about that? I have to say that's not the kind of fairness that I'm talking about, or that this legislation is about. The legislation passed by Ontario is called the Fair Access to the Regulated Professions. And that act, or that legislation passed in 2006, said that if you come to the province of Ontario from another province or from another country, that you are internationally educated, you are a doctor, a lawyer, a dentist, a teacher, an engineer, etc., etc. If you come to the province and you come qualified, that the bodies that regulate the professions, and in Ontario we call them colleges. We say the College of Physicians and Surgeons, the College of Doctors, College of Dentists, the engineers, the professional engineers, etc., College of Teachers, etc. That those bodies that regulate the professions must have licensing practices that's fair, that's transparent, that's impartial, and that you must get an answer in a timely fashion. In other words, you must not be tossed around, as I say, I usually say, so many hoops put in your way that you have to take so many exams, go back through several different routes, and you're not able to get into your profession, and the costs involved, etc., are such that you turn away and you either get in the situation of underemployment or taking whatever that can give you resources to make your living. Too many applicants face unacceptable hurdles. Everyone who seeks a professional license, says the legislation, deserves fair treatment no matter where he or she was educated, whether in Ontario, in another province, or elsewhere in the world. The law defines my role as commissioner. The law says that I have to assess the registration practices of the regulators, and I have to help them to improve. So what do? I called the regulators in. That was our starting point. And I say, where are your applicants coming from? How many applicants came to you? What are you asking of them in terms of exams? What are the costs involved? Do you have appeal processes, etc., etc.? I drill down on their procedures, and then I make comments according to the legislation. So given today's theme of healthcare, the licensing of medical practitioners is paramount to community well-being. Scarborough, we know, is one of the fastest growing areas with a population of 650,000 people. We know that many talented newcomers come to live in this area. That in this area we also have many internationally educated and trained individuals, and those people call Scarborough home. Malvern, like any other community, is internationally trained professionals who are eager to get licensed with the Ontario College of their chosen profession, and they want to start to contribute to our economy and overall well-being. So whether it is my role at the OFC, the Office of the Fairness Commissioner, or the role that you have as Taibu and Taibu staff, everything that we do is connected as we all strive to make our community and make our city a better place. More recently, I have been doing speeches in different parts of the province where I'm talking about how can small towns and cities grow their population. How do you invite people to be part of the community? How do you integrate them into the community? So not only do you have to attract, you have to integrate, and you have to make sure that there are services so people would stay in the community. I was in Coburg, St. Edward's County area, and do you know that there were more on the death rates than there were on the birth rates? So again, when you see so many people passing on and the birth rates are not matching, you know that immigration and others coming to live in the area is really the savior for the area. So today's theme at this AGM, our health and well-being, carving new paths. I think everything that I heard spoke to the fact that you are indeed looking at those new paths. It's important to observe that theme, our health, and it's not your health, it's not whatever, it's our health, including all of us. And I think it's important because even though your own health impacts you directly, physically and mentally, your individual health also impacts all those around you. So let us not forget that our health can be construed as a collective entity, because when your health suffers, it affects your family, your friends, your co-workers. So our good health bodes well for the overall betterment of the entire community. Our levels of government benefit from the existence of Taibu and the work that you do here, and other community health care centers, as local health providers offer better bang for the buck. You know the situation of approaching hospitals, dental care, and all kinds of care, and the cost to the system. So when we can do preventative things, when we can do educational things, when we can do awareness, when we can have people understand issues around their health, we know that we are saving the entire system. So you're carving new paths by providing not just the government, but hospitals and the healthcare institutions with information about the health concerns and needs of the Black community. And it is my hope that in the collection of data and information and research, that your information, data, and research is part of that collection. We know that as a Black community, we're not a monolithic entity, that we're composed of diverse peoples from all over the world, each with specific health outcomes. And Taibu helps and can help to focus attention on the needs and the strategies to improve Black community health. You've done a stellar job of providing maternity information and care for many mothers who may not have the support at home to take care of a baby or take care of a child. And you go beyond that to provide the support and the sitting services and whatnot that's so essential, especially for young mothers. We all know that in nurturing upbringing, where a parent has the education, the skills, and the confidence to take care of a child will go a long way to improve health outcomes for everyone involved. There's all kinds of data that speaks to this. One other issue I think it's important to mention, and I see this so much around me, and that is what is known in common parlance as a sandwich generation. That you have individuals who are not only looking after children, but also looking after the seniors around them. And therefore there are certain things confronting that caregiver who is caught in the middle of the sandwich, as it were. Every generation has its challenges, but the human condition remains constant throughout time. However, this generation is ever fast-paced than those before us, and the whole issue of taking care of children and taking care of the elderly does put a strain on individuals and on individuals' health. I'm also pleased to hear about the after-school programs, the services that you involve yourself with, and I pay special attention to a geriatric care center not very far from here, where that specific community looks after its seniors, because we know that the time has come for us to have our own senior homes that can provide our care, our seniors with the care, the cultural activities, and importantly the food and diet that they grow up with, because as we move towards those senior years, we seem to crave for and to want those comfort things. So the comfort factor is so important to ensure a better quality of life for the elderly. As seniors, we tend to revert to things of our childhood, and a Black seniors home would be beneficial. We know that other communities, and I won't name, but you know, other communities who are doing that and doing it quite well. We also need, I know that you address many of the Black health determinants through your programs and services, and the role of lifestyle cannot be underestimated as a lifelong accumulation of bad habits, habits around diet, around smoking, around addiction, all contribute to a shared stress and causes a higher than average incidence of high blood pressure, diabetes, cholesterol, prostate cancer, sickle cell, etc. You know the story along this. Sometimes things come very close to an individual and you have to reflect on it. My sister went to Trinidad about a month ago for a little bit of a holiday, and the second day she got there, she got a stroke. And she's come back completely disabled on the left side. A house that was really beautiful with nice steps coming up, a pool at the back with nice steps going down to the pool, nice hallway along the house. It's almost an impossible situation. And oftentimes we walk around and we never think about this. The bedrooms are upstairs, the something is downstairs, but then again, how do we prepare ourselves when there are things like, unfortunate things like this happening? And how do we put that in the thinking and the planning for when these unfortunate and unexpected things happen? The other one-sided killer that I just want to mention before I stop is the whole issue of stress. Have we ever thought what stress does to our physical health and to the cohesion of the family unit? The biggest cause of stress, and you know this because I know that you speak about this in your section, poor housing, crime, single-parent family finances, diseases, and overall self-esteem. We know that when one lives in substandard living conditions with mold, leaky pipes, or in an unsafe neighborhood, that causes stress. And I would imagine that the brother who brought to our attention what is going on in Hamilton, again, we can see what the lives of people who are caught in that situation would be and could be. When one lives from paycheck to paycheck to paycheck, not sure what the future will bring, that causes stress. When a person is so busy trying to make ends meet that they neglect quality family time or cooking proper meals, leading to bad health, that also causes stress. Physical and personal challenges lead to self-esteem issues, and that also causes stress. No one is ever going to have the perfect life, and we all strive towards it. But I do see an enhanced role for Taibu and other community health centers as they provide an impact on the Black community and the impact on programs and policies that are supported by government and stakeholders. Any new path must include employment, housing, and education as part of the strategy to improve overall Black community health. And oftentimes things are taken in silos, and in government we seem to be able to manage in silos and to look at things, look at this in silos without seeing the holistic and the complementary ways in which we need to operate. And you have a responsibility to make sure that that is always on the table. I think, Lily, I must make mention of the fact that the November 2010 report from the World Health Organization says that 10 to 40% of the Black population are carriers of sickle cell disease. And this is something we need to keep in mind, and the information is here, and the information is around that we can pass on to ensure that our young people have that recognition, that they do the testing, and they ensure that those at risk know the consequences, know what to do in terms of nutrition, education, self-management, etc. because we know that after heart attacks and cancer, diabetes is the third most common health fertility for blacks, and therefore the information you provide around diet is so important. So let me then end by talking about the fact that we spend money in this province through our health networks, because there is a sense that Ontario spends the 76 billion each year in healthcare, and it's 40% of the provincial budget. And as our population ages, with the baby boomer generation reaching their senior years, costs will continuously increase, projected to reach 44% of the total budget of the province by 2017-2018. So we know that there are things that are related. A Senate report estimated that an individual's health outcome will be related to in 4 areas. 15% by our biology, by our genetics, 50% by education and income, 25% by the healthcare system and the care we get, and 10% by the physical environment around us. And I find those statistics both fascinating, and at the same time I realize that aside from our DNA, there is so much that we can change to improve black health, from education, better housing, meaningful employment, and this is all interconnected. I want to make a plea for all of us in the community who are doing things, that we come together, because we can address issue when we have a critical mass addressing the issue. When we do things in little pockets, we do not have the bang and the impact. When we have an organization like Taibu that has already set a track record, that has done its homework, that has a good governance model, we need to get behind it. Too often we are inventing and reinventing the wheel, and oftentimes there's not a need for us to do this. We need to see what is working, what is there, and let's get behind it. So let me end then with an Arabic proverb that is on the verge of speaking about health, and that proverb says what should be foremost in our minds. He who has health has hope, and he who has hope has everything. So once again, congratulations on your 5th anniversary of community dedication. Congratulations on your AGM. Welcome to those members who are joining you on the board, the incoming board members, and all the very best for all future endeavors. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Dr. Augustine. You have given us much to think about, and we certainly have paid attention to the hints that you dropped, and we will be taking them up accordingly. On behalf of the Board of Directors, we would just like to present you with a token of our appreciation and celebrating our 5th anniversary today. Here it is, and I got on good authority that you really enjoy products from this particular place and this from this particular place. So we want to say thank you very much for taking time out to be with us today. I hope that we can finish our research. We're ready now to close the meeting, so we'll entertain a motion to adjourn our AGM for today. So if someone would like to move by Derek, thank you very much. We are going straight into our food and our celebration, and of course we have to do that in traditional style. And so here we go. We have our drummer who's going to call this celebration to order, and we just follow their directions. So here we have with us our master our master drummer, Amadou Kino, all the way from Burkina Faso, is it? And he is also from the heritage line of griots. Also would like to acknowledge our very own Bas Alcasu, who is here today. And who else is here? Oh, Marianne Chambers is also here. Welcome, and see the Executive Director from the Association of Ontario Health Centers, and one of our very first supporters, Dr. Dominic Shelton. You'll get an opportunity to hear from him, and I see Kathy and a whole bunch of people, but they're all on the program for this afternoon. And anybody I've forgotten now, catch me in the break, and I'll make sure they're acknowledged for this afternoon officially. And then welcome, get up, stomp your feet. And we also have present with us our former CBC anchor reporter, Ms. Christine Bentley, who is joining us today. So thank you for joining us. Let's go. Take it away.